a nice room.
This clock is off, so we'll use this one back here for about 30 seconds.
Remind me, I've got to ask for my wife a bunch of questions about what's getting built in surpluses on 60.
Okay, we're good.
And 2 minutes.
That clock is off. It's this one.
Oh,
right
it's
there.
this one?
It is 6.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the January 2025 meeting of the Republic Planning and Zoning Commission. Patrick or Chris, one of you call the roll, please.
Commissioner Alexander,
Here.
Commissioner DeBrava,
Here.
Commissioner Ellis,
Here?
Commissioner Means,
Here.
Commissioner Hyder, Commissioner Mann,
Here.
Commissioner Bridges.
Here.
Okay. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes or suggested changes to the agenda?
Motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve. Is anybody second?
Second.
I have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Bridges,
Aye.
Commissioner Mann,
Aye.
Commissioner Means,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellis,
Aye.
Commissioner DeBrava,
Aye.
Commissioner Alexander.
Aye.
Okay, next item of business is the approval of the minutes from the 12/2/24 meeting. Anyone have any changes that need to go to that?
Motion to approve?
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Means,
Aye.
Commissioner Mann,
Aye.
Commissioner Bridges,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellis,
Aye.
Commissioner DeBrava,
Aye.
Commissioner Alexander. Abstain.
Okay, next item, we have 3 public hearings, and because of that, we will, I need Patrick, is it Patrick tonight? Patrick will read the meeting procedures for everyone.
Thank you. The Planning and Zoning Commission holds public hearings as required by law and provides recommendations to City Council on matters relating to land use planning, zoning, and the subdivision of land. Any person who has an interest in the subject matter of a hearing will have the opportunity to provide testimony and present evidence to the commission during the public hearing. Speakers are required to conduct themselves in an orderly and respectful manner. Disruptive behavior, including applause, yelling, speaking out of turn, or other inappropriate behaviors will not be tolerated. Additionally, the following applies to any person addressing the commission. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes unless authorized additional time by the chairperson. Speakers must speak at the podium unless previous arrangements have been made at by the chairperson. Speakers must legibly print their name and address on the sign-in sheet at the podium prior to speaking. Speakers must begin by stating their name and address. And lastly, speakers should speak clearly and into the microphone. The chairperson will announce the subject of the hearing, followed by a report from staff. The chairperson will then open the public hearing to the applicant, followed by those in favor of the application and those opposed to the application. The chairperson will close the public hearing. During this time, the commission will discuss amongst themselves. The public may not address the commission after the close of the public hearing unless requested by the chairperson. The Planning and Zoning Commission shall base their recommendation and/or decision on information and evidence presented during the public hearing. This decision, if required by the application, will be forwarded in writing to City Council for further consideration.
Thank you, Patrick. The first, call the first public hearing, that's ORD 25-001, public hearing and possible vote to recommend the approval of amendments to sections 405.020 and 405.670. Chris has this. Would you please tell us about it?
Thank you. Chris Tabor, Principal Planner. City of Republic staff is requesting the approval of amendments to Section 405.020 definitions of Article 405.1 in general and Section 405.670 generally of Article 8 special use regulations. The intent of these ordinance changes is to prepare the municipal code for the possibility of future incoming special uses not currently accounted for, specifically data centers and vehicular tow yards. In addition, it is preferable also to build in some flexibility to the code that allows City Council to consider uses not specifically called out by the ordinance, but which have been judged to meet the intent of the Article 405-8 Special Use Regulations. To this effect, staff is proposing the following definitions to Section 405.020. 1, data center, a facility whose primary service is data processing and is used to house computer systems and associated components, such as telecommunications and storage systems, including but not limited to web hosting organizations and internet service organizations, a server farm, telecom hotel, carrier hotel, telehouse, co-location, or any other term applicable to facilities which are used for these specific purposes shall be deemed to be a data center. 2, vehicular tow yard, a secured site used for the temporary storage of vehicles that have been towed due to being abandoned, illegally parked, involved in an accident, or otherwise impounded. This may also include the storage of vehicles by private individuals or businesses on a rental basis. Staff has then added those uses under the preferred zoning districts, as well as the more general use allowance to Section 405.670. Vehicular tow yards located in a C2, C3, M1, or M2 zoning district, data centers located in an M2 zoning district, and other uses not specifically listed in this chapter that the City Council determines to be of a similar nature and character to the uses permitted in the applicable zoning district and that are not contrary to public interest, the general intent of this chapter. The special use permit process allows City Council to allow certain uses where preferred, while also considering added limitations or restrictions on the project sites through the accompanied required development plan. The two specified uses are possibilities staff expects we could see in the future. Data centers are becoming more common across the area and have the potential to create nuisances for adjacent properties if not carefully considered. The vehicular tow yard use provides some flexibility for certain properties located around areas of the city that are not easily occupiable by other uses due to constraints on a given site's utility access and the mix of the surrounding uses. Tow yards are currently only possible in the heavy industrial M2 zoning district. Adding this as a potential special use allows the permitting of those activities as appropriate based on a case-by-case analysis of locations where staff would or would not support a rezone to M2. Staff is recommending approval of the referenced amendments.
Thank you, Chris. I assume this is an ordinance brought by the city.
Yes, the city itself is the applicant on this.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak in favor of this application? If so, come forward, give us your name, and tell us what we need to know. Don't have anybody coming forward. Anyone that is opposed to this application who wishes to speak in this hearing, please come forward, give us your name, and tell us what we need to know. Not seeing anyone coming forward, I'm going to close the public hearing. We will at this time then discuss this as a commission. Thoughts?
Adding in vehicle tow yards to things as low as C2, all of these being special permit, that would mean each one of these that would want to go in would have to come through for a vote specifically as a special project, correct? Or would it?
So it would come in through the public notification process. A notice would be posted in the paper. It would come through the Planning and Zoning Commission and then 2 reads of the City Council. Also required, unlike a rezone, a special use permit requires a development plan in cases where we would desire one, which can lay out like very specific limitations to a site and actually require the site be planned out and where specific uses happen on the site prior to adoption.
So we're not just going to throw one next to Culver's or something like that?
That is not the goal. The goal is that there are certain places in the city that are not appropriate for M2. We would not want to rezone that because of the types of uses that could show up there that are, potentially troublesome, but are currently or easily zoned to something in the commercial, like C2. In some of these sites, they simply don't have the utility requirements that we would require for a rezone to M2. So we don't want to encourage a rezone in those cases where it's not necessary. This is something that we view as a more easily controlled method, and also gives a lot of flexibility to what city council requires on a specific property.
Okay, thank you.
What's the difference between what I think you're trying to do with this as a data center and a business that has a bank of computers in the back operating for its own purposes?
So
I mean, is there some threshold that you can be under and not get involved with this special permit?
ultimately, there'll be some amount of discretion in determining what exactly meets the definition. You know, there's no like count of how many of those banks of computers. The goal would be to ensure that those uses that are potential nuisances are not allowable in that area. But anything that fell under this definition cleanly would require a special use permit.
Tell me how it would be an annoyance.
So in some of these cases, there's a large amount of noise associated with some of the cooling systems that are there.
Okay.
These buildings can be really large. They can be campuses. We would want to like regulate spacing between adjacent properties as best as we could. Those are the immediate ways I can think of that.
Okay.
Screening potentially.
And because you're putting it in M zoning, is that in part because of the draw of electricity that it would get?
So it's mostly because of where we would anticipate the city planning best, where our infrastructure and where our preference for those sites are. Those uses are most appropriate, not along somewhere like 60, but more along somewhere in the MM area where that's kind of our industrial corridor at this time. The city kind of chooses, its zoning plan is sort of based on where different uses should be best located for the city. And some of that is related to what the city sees as profitable by, sales tax related things. And some of that is just where other things are located. All of our commercial, is located in a particular area, and all of our industrial is as well. So we would want to, relegate those over in that area, especially if they create a potential nuisance.
Okay, one final question, famous last words, but one final question. What if the property, the data center gets started outside the city of Republic and then is annexed in? How do you handle that?
So what would happen if the city annexed a property, the city would take in the zoning that is most appropriate based on what the county has. So if the county's zoning was like a commercial zoning that allowed this, we would bring that property in as annexed in the closest commercial zoning. So we would then require the rezone and I would assume the special use. We've not been in that situation, so I'd defer to legal counsel.
I'm just looking at the potential problems that could happen from this one very well-meaning change in the ordinance. And the ordinance, of course, can always get changed back, but it becomes extremely difficult to do that, obviously. If it comes in place, then you have one that's already gotten the permit.
The city is not required to take in an annexation applicant, so, that alone would give us some amount of leeway as to whether we wanted that within the city or not. Also, the county is usually very good about cooperating and bringing the city into a lot of these decisions. We often work hand in hand when there's anything close to our boundaries.
For this particular use too, I might note that they are typically large utility draws. So it is most likely that they would not be located in a jurisdiction such as Greene County where there was not municipal utility already in place to serve that particular type of function. I would expect any type of data center to require both municipal water service, sewer service, and large available resources on the electric side.
Okay, that raises other questions in my mind, but they're not involved in this, so I'm good. Any other questions from anybody? Concerns?
Does Google come into Republic?
I'm sorry?
We have not talked,
Will come into Republic?
the city has not received an application for a Google building.
Microsoft is yet to,
Microsoft works too.
We would be happy to receive an application from either company, though.
Motion to vote on the approval of ordinance 25-001.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Ellis,
Aye.
Commissioner Mann,
Aye.
Commissioner Alexander,
Aye.
Commissioner DeBrava,
Aye.
Commissioner Means,
Aye.
Commissioner Bridges.
Aye.
Thank you. Next public hearing is VACA 25-001, recommending the approval of an application to vacate a sanitary sewer easement located at lots 1 and 2 of the Town East Minor subdivision. Patrick's got it?
Thank you. Before I start on the report, I just wanted to make you aware that we provided a new packet with some minor changes to the legal descriptions for both of these vacations. It's not content change, it's more formatting so that it matches exactly the easement that was recorded previously. So for the first one, the Bills Department is requesting the vacation of approximately 5,928 square feet of sanitary sewer easement located at lots 1 and 2 of the Town East Minor subdivision. The Bills Department is requesting the vacation of the sanitary sewer currently present on the site, land owned by Town East Center LLC, or Lot 1, and Blue Current Credit Union, Lot 2. The referenced sanitary sewer easement is currently unused for the intended purpose of construction and maintenance of infrastructure related to the sanitary sewer system. The city has no utilities occupying this easement and has no plans for future utilities to occupy this easement. Vacating this easement would provide more flexibility of development on vacant property to the north, Lot 2. Once vacated, the easement will return the associated rights to the property owners of Town East Center LLC and Blue Current Credit Union. The Buildings Department recommends approval of the requested sanitary sewer easement vacation.
Okay. Is the applicant here?
The city was the applicant
Yeah,
for
the
both of
applicant is
these.
the city. Thank you. And you probably said that, and I just missed it. Okay, so is there anyone else here who is in favor of this, this change, who wishes to speak? No one comes forward. Is there anyone here that is opposed to this requested change, who wishes to speak? Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close the hearing, and we will discuss.
Motion to vote on the approval of vacation 25-001.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Commissioner Bridges?
Aye.
Commissioner Alexander?
Aye.
Commissioner Mann?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBrava?
Aye.
Commissioner Means?
Aye.
Commissioner Ellis?
Aye. Let's move to the third public hearing. It's VACA 25-002, recommending the approval of an application to vacate a sanitary sewer easement located at lots 1 and 3 of Town East Minor subdivision. Now, is this where there was a change? Was there?
Both of them had some small minor formatting issues that were changed in the legal.
But not the easement numbers? The
No.
lot numbers?
No.
Okay.
So the Buildings Department is requesting the vacation of approximately 8,118 square feet of sanitary sewer easement currently present on the site of the land owned by Town East Center LLC, and that's within lots 1 and 3 of the Town East Minor subdivision. The referenced sanitary sewer easement is currently unused for the intended purpose of construction and maintenance of infrastructure related to the sanitary sewer system. The city has no utilities occupying this easement and has no plans for future utilities to occupy this easement as well. Vacating this easement would provide more flexibility of development on the vacant property to the southwest or Lot 3. Once vacated, the easement will return the associated rights to the property owner, Town East Center LLC. The Buildings Department recommends approval of the requested sanitary sewer easement vacation.
Thank you, Christopher. Christopher. Thank you, Patrick. Okay. Is there anyone that is in favor of this application that wishes to speak? No one coming forward. Is there anyone that's opposed to the application who wishes to speak? No one coming forward. We're going to close that hearing and discuss.
Motion to approve vacation 25-002.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the application. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner DeBrava,
Aye.
Commissioner Mann,
Aye.
Commissioner Means,
Aye.
Commissioner Alexander,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellis,
Aye.
Commissioner Bridges.
Aye.
I do have a side question on it. Are you going to have to take the porta pots too? It's a joke. Move on. It's a sanitary sewer, no more sanitary sewer, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Other business. Is there other business? No other business. Everybody's shaking no. Citizen participation. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak to us about any manner of things other than the things that we have already discussed tonight? Come forward and tell us who you are and tell us what we need to know. Can't entice anybody to the dais, so we'll move on. The ever-popular Community Development Department update.
I just want to welcome everybody to the building for the first meeting in the new council chambers, and just remind everybody this is where we'll be meeting for the foreseeable future.
It's beautiful. I
We're very lucky
especially
to have the
like the
building.
fact that you put the little fence out there so that I didn't wander all over the building trying to figure out where it was after I passed it.
It's loud. We'll know if you go through it.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Commissioner Alexander,
Aye.
Commissioner DeBrava,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellis,
Aye.
Commissioner Means,
Aye.
Commissioner Mann,
Aye.
Commissioner Bridges.
Aye.
Thank you all.